Thanks so much for joining us. It's fantastic. So, I've got Shane's going to shout at me now because I keep talking all the time.
You can go. You're on now.
Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. This is Margaret Hirsch at Home with Hirsch's, and thank you for joining us for our wellness webinar, the first one of 2025. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful year. I just feel it in my bones. It has started so well. 2024 was quite a tough year, but we made it through and we did everything we had to do, which was fantastic. And so, yeah, we're excited for 2025. And we thought with everybody being on their phones all the time, and I know with me, and it's a habit with me, my phone is in my hand all the time, and you just can't put it down. And if you do put it down, you have that horrible loss. Oh my God, have I lost it? So we don't want you losing it. So you've got your phone with you all the time. I'm on my laptop 20 hours out of 24. So that's a whole nother thing. But how do we detox it? Well, I've got to be honest with you that I am miserable without internet. Where were we? We were in we took our friends up to some game reserve up in Northern Natal, and we didn't have internet in the room. Well, I just didn't function. I had to go and sit in the flipping lounge all the time because I didn't function. But how do we detox ourselves from that? So I think we've got to just think about it and just realize that technology, it fuels my work. It's part of my work. I do everything online, every single thing. Even now, we don't have invoice books. You come in, I go into the app and I can send you an invoice. I can send you a quote. I can do everything from my. So we've got to have times to unplug because you don't realize how much energy that saps out of you. And it's drawing your energy all the time that you're holding onto that phone, that you've got your laptop on your lap, that you are going online for all these different things. And I think it's really important that we have that break just to make us more productive. So how do you do it and why should you do it? Well, it doesn't mean you've got to give it up altogether. You don't have to give up your digital stuff altogether, but you've got to have a break from it from time to time and find a balance. Like everything else, it's all about balance. It's so important. So we've got to, and I'm fanatical, and I know my PA Faye is as well. We're fanatical about responding to emails quickly. Everybody says, "Oh, I can't believe you responded so quickly." Well, that's what I do. But how do you get that? Well, we're going to think about that and just reclaim our minds from all of that. I think my saving grace is that Shane bans me from my own social media most of the time because I mess it up. So I can't get onto that. But I see people, but as the plane stops, and I fly 3 times a week, everybody's out with their phone and they're scrolling through Instagram, Twitter, blah, 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 blah. I think the scrolling is very time consuming, and you don't realize how much time you're wasting on that. And you've got such precious little time on this earth. So I think it's so, so important to spend your time so wisely and make the best of it. So, Kerry, tell us about the balance. How do we make the best or the worst of the breaks from the internet?
Yeah, I think it really hit me big last year. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I went back to South Africa to visit my dad because obviously we knew that he was at the end. And what I was doing is in order to hold on to every precious moment with him, he would get into bed at night and he would say, here's a word search. He was trying to keep his brain active. And he said to me on his phone, let's do this word game together. And so I would lie with him in bed and I'd do the word game, just one word game. And then he was exhausted and then he went to sleep. So when I came back to New Zealand, it was like I just kind of wanted that connection with my dad still. So I would get into bed and I would do the word game. And then the word game led me, because all the little adverts come up for all the different games. I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting a little bit bored of the word game. I'm going to try a different game. And I went on to this other game, which was called King's Match or Royal Match or something like that. And I started playing that a little bit. And all of a sudden there was these things dropping down on the screen and everything was dropping down. Well, Margaret, I couldn't sleep because I closed my eyes and all of a sudden these things were dropping down. I had these flashes in front of me. And that whole night I was so disturbed. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is what happens to our children.
Yes.
This is what happens to people that are on their phones just before they go to bed at night. Their brain and it can't switch off because this is all going on in the background when you don't even realize it. So your quality of sleep is totally disturbed if you are on a device with that light shining just before you go to bed. Now, I mean, I've had a rule in my house for a long time. My kids have known it for a long time. At least an hour before you go to bed, you're not on your device. You're not on your device an hour before you go to bed. Now, that is something that they've kept up, and normally we eat dinner together. They might check their phones after dinner, then they put their phones away. I've even got my son keeps his phone charged in a whole different, like upstairs compared to where he sleeps. He sleeps in a he's got a flat downstairs. He he keeps it charging upstairs. Like it's not even charging in the room. It's not even next to you, next to your bed, or his bed, and I don't keep it next to my bed. But people use it as alarm clocks, so that it's
alarm clock.
yeah. So it's as soon as you wake up, you've got the light. You've got the light on. So what is it? What I really want to ask everybody is, do you have your phone next to your bed? Do you play on your phone or read on your phone? Or what do you do on your phone just before you go to bed at night? And do you feel, is it disturbing your sleep? Do you think it's actually disturbing your sleep? Or can you put your head down, close your eyes, and go to sleep?
Well, these are my new glasses, and they have a special thing in them. And she says, if you've got light eyes, which I have, she said that more light goes into your eyes and disturbs your brain than if you've got brown eyes. So it's really, really important that if you have light eyes, you have these glasses. And what they do is they cut the blue light out so that when you are on the computer like I am till late at night, she said, even if you don't wear them in the day, put them on at night and that will cut all that blue light out. I must be honest, I'm still getting used to them. So they last about 5 minutes. But she says that it's absolutely amazing. And she said, we found out a lot of kids with light eyes. Now, I've got 5 grandsons. 2 have got blue eyes and 3 have got brown eyes. The 2 with blue eyes suffer from terrible insomnia, terrible. They can't go to sleep at night. Mothers give them those gummies, those Miller something gummies to go to sleep. But the ones with brown eyes go straight to sleep. And when we discovered that that's what it is, that the blue light from your computer saturates your eyes and goes into your brain, and it tricks your brain into thinking that it's day when it's night. And that's what they do to chickens to make them carry on growing and laying eggs right through the night. They put that light on. And that's what we're doing to ourselves without even thinking about it. So that was a real eye-opener, pardon the pun, to me when she told me that, because I said I never did it. So now I've just got these glasses 2 days ago, and I'm going to try and wear them every night before I go to bed, because I don't sleep. Everybody knows I don't sleep. I'm up all night and all morning as well. So the question we're going to ask, and ask all of you, who has their phone next to their bed at night for an alarm? So put Y for yes and N for no. So I'm putting a Y for yes. And Shane says, the last thing I look at before I sleep is my phone. And I know, Shane, the first thing you look at in the morning when you wake up is your phone, so I think we all do. So I have
there's some no's. There's some
no's.
no's.
Don't use their phone for, my goodness. I won't put mine off 1 hour before I go to bed. That is so clever, Carol. I wish I could do that. I can't. I'm too much of an addict, but I'm going to try and get that right. So what do we do now to stop it? Well, I'll tell you some of the things that I do. You know that I've got a farm, so I go walking on the farm. I go out on the farm, and although I do take my phone to take photographs, I don't look at it. I don't look at the messages. If we have a stop, then I'll look at the messages. But apart from that, I try not to look at them. So I think being outdoors and being out and about, I'm a picture fanatic, so I'm always taking pictures with my phone. But I think apart from that, just the actual scrolling and the watching and that type of thing, I don't do. I think, if everybody has to do yoga and meditation every day, I meditate every day. I try and do yoga every day, but I've been on the move such a lot that I haven't been able to do that. But I think that will release all that tension, because I think when you're scrolling, your mind can't separate fact from fiction. When you're looking at stuff, it doesn't know if that's really happening or is it just something else. So especially the people that we stay with now, they watch the news. Now, that's something that we never, ever do. And I know my friend in America, when he watches the news, his blood pressure goes up because he gets so angry because everything's not how it should be. And I think that's really, really important. If you watch the news, and that you should not do before you go to bed, you've got to detox yourself from that. But I think meditation and just being calm and yoga and looking at nature and that type of thing, that's really, really good. I love to go out to dinner. We go out to dinner every night. It's our way of socializing because we work all day, and it's a good way to socialize at night, going out for dinner. So I think then my phone is off. I do use it to take pictures. I take pictures of the food. I take pictures of the group, and then I put it off until I get in the car. Then I look at my messages again. So I think that's really, really important. Now, Kerry, tell me about listening to podcasts. I mean, if you're listening to a podcast, you really are on your phone, but you're not really on your phone. Where do you draw the line? It's such a fine line.
It is such a fine line. It really is. And I think it's a matter of actually just putting some boundaries in place, really putting some boundaries in place because when you think about it, there are so many people that will scroll through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and we now getting used to go through things fast, 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 fast. If something doesn't catch our attention within 5 seconds, like we're on to the next thing, we're on to the next thing. But I think the real problem is this is now what the children are doing. This is now what the babies are doing. And the people in the marketing, they know when it comes to putting all these programs together. I mean, there's a specific children's program called CoComelon. And the creators of CoComelon realize that if they don't keep the child's attention for 4 seconds, if they don't change the screen after 4 seconds, the child wants to move on to something else. And so
really?
even in the children's programs, they've been specifically designed and created for quick attention to move the child to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so when you think about that, yes, our brains, but what does our nervous system do? Our nervous system is actually always on this heightened alertness because we are always moving from one to the next to the next. So exactly, when do we calm? We've got to put these boundaries in place. And what I would suggest for all of us is really switch off those notifications. Because isn't it amazing? You get the little bing and you get a bing coming through and you want to look at your phone and like who's messaging or who's looked at my Facebook or who's done my social media or who's sending me an email. You know, all these notifications are coming through and we so like on edge, like, you know, I need to look at my phone. I need to look at my phone. It is really not healthy. It is really not healthy for our whole system. So the nervous system, the brain, the circulatory system. You were talking about high blood pressure when you're watching the news. You know, but it could be you watching other things that are coming through. And it's building up and it's building up and it's building up in our system. And eventually our bodies are in this heightened state all the time. All the time.
Isn't that when you start getting anxiety? You get because you're in heightened state all the time, and then the anxiety starts. Is what's going to happen? You know, is everything okay?
And that's the thing. It's an overwhelm. It's an overwhelm, and our cortisol levels go up. The adrenaline is pumping through, which means it's altering our chemicals in our body. So our biochemicals are being disturbed by this increase in social media, the increase in the devices that we're on. It's actually affecting us at a cellular level and at a biochemical level. And so once again, it's been proven that if we've got more cortisol running through our body, it actually feeds the bad bacteria by 10,000%.
Oh my gosh.
10,000%. So if you're looking at your gut microbiome, your bad bacteria is going to be fed by the cortisol and the adrenaline 10,000%. So once again, we're talking about the brain, but it affects the gut as well. It affects the gut as well because of the chemicals that are running through our body. So really, really important. The subject for me is actually really important, and yet we don't give it enough time. We don't give it enough thought because we're in the modern world and we're doing the modern thing. But for me, so what I do is I walk on our beaches here. The beaches are just absolutely amazing, and I take time out to walk on a beach. I insist that my kids go for an hour a day walking. Just walking. And I don't care if it's on the road or in the bush or on the beach, but they choose the bush and the beach. So much easier. And it's just to give yourself that time away from the devices and the digital notifications and the light and put yourself into nature. If you put yourself into nature, it's recharging you. Even if you go out in your garden, put your feet on the ground, just you actually sometimes feel that. You feel that. So I know, Margaret, you spend a lot of time on the beach as well and in the bush as well. But you need to make sure that you're in the bush without the devices. You know?
Oh gosh. But now you see people exercising now, and everybody's got their earpods and listening to something, to music, to podcasts, to whatever. What do you feel about the podcast when you're walking and listening to a podcast, or should you just walk with nothing?
It would be an amazing idea to walk with nothing. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. I think in today's also modern world, go, 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 we've forgotten to connect to our spirit.
Mhm.
And when we connect really deep down, and when we are walking in silence, and when we are connecting to the ground and the earth, and we're feeling grounded, this is what I feel, and I call it, I get my downloads, I get my intuition, I get guided. And so now all of a sudden you ask a question whilst you're walking in silence, you get an answer.
Yeah.
You get an answer. So you go, oh, what should I be doing today? Where should I be focusing today? You know, who should I phone today? And all of a sudden you get this little nudge. Oh,
Yeah.
I should be phoning this person. I should be looking at this thing. Or it allows your energy and your vibration to increase because you're more connected to nature. You're more
Yeah.
connected, and there's a calmness about your own energy and your own frequency. All of a sudden, the opportunities actually get attracted to you. Because you're actually in a different space. You're in a different place. So for me, it's really important for you to be guided. What's best in your life is to actually walk in silence. Those podcasts and those things, I do listen to them because I'm a lifelong learner. That's exactly what it is. Like, I want the info, I want the research, I want to listen, I want to read, I want to, I'm always doing things like that. But then you carve out time. So you put time in your diary for these different things so that, it could be like when you're on the toilet, or it could be that, you're doing something else when you're listening to the podcast. Or I know a lot of people, whilst they're training, it's really good to listen to the podcast. It's also really good whilst you're training because you get into a little bit of a meditative state to have nothing. So really all I'm saying is carve out time to connect to you, to really connect to you, connect to your spirit, connect to your higher self, connect to God, connect to whoever you believe in. It is really important, really important.
Yeah, and I think reading again, I think you get lazy when it comes to reading because you can flip through so quickly on your phone. When you actually sit down with a book, and I have read a lot of books over these last holidays. I really have read a lot. I've posted some of them on my pages, and I really have got so much out of it to actually sit down with a book, read it, and I'm terrible. When I pick up a book, I read from cover to cover, except the Elon Musk one, which is very thick, so I had to take that in bites. But I try and do as much as I can and just focus on that and focus on the story and focus. And I only read nonfiction. I don't read fiction at all. So I just read the story of Lisa Marie Presley, which was actually such a sad tale because she had everything. She was the most wonderful child. She was the most wanted child. She was everything. And she went to nothing because she just didn't have anything to live for. And I think that's the fine line that you've got to have. You've got to know what you're there for. I had a girl phone me today and said, will you mentor me? And I said, well, I'll mentor you and I can help you, but what do you want? She said, I really don't know. I said, well, then it's like Alice in Wonderland. Doesn't matter which road you take if you don't know where you're going. You've got to know where you're going. You've got to set your goals. You've got to have your purpose. You've got to know what your purpose is in life. You've got to work towards it. So I love the motivational content of the podcasts and YouTube and that. And I make my staff watch part of a YouTube video every day, a motivational one, so that they get into the vibe, because they come from very negative backgrounds, and a lot of them have a very negative sort of home life. So we have to turn them around so they're positive, happy to serve all our customers. So I love to put on something inspiring when I'm driving, when I'm relaxing, whatever. I have that going in the background. But I think then you do switch up from your actual social media. And I think it's the social media, the scrolling, looking at other people's lives. I always say to my guys, please don't go home and watch days of other people's lives. You've got to start living your own life, because, that's what it's all about. They do go to live other people's lives. But I think books, are actually so fantastic. They're coming back into fashion again. People love a book. They love to hold a book, to, read the pages. I mark the pages. I put notes in my pages so that, but I think also exercise is so important. And I think exercise is underestimated in this modern day, because you walk with your podcast on, you walk with this. I swim. So, and funny enough, when I was swimming lengths, I used to, I had actually earphones that were waterproof in my ears that I could listen, but now I don't. When I swim, that's my meditative state. I go into a totally meditative state. I can't wait. I go to Zanzibar tomorrow. So I swim a kilometer out to the reef and a kilometer back every morning and every afternoon. And I'd say that's my meditative state. That's when I can let go of all the rubbish that's in my head, try and clear it out, and start fresh again. And I think that's really, really fantastic.
It's really, really important to do offline activities. And that is that's an offline activity that is actually recharging you, because
Yeah.
you've got to be able to recharge somehow. So Margaret, 100%, that is amazing, amazing. And I think that's what everybody needs to carve out the time to do offline activities in order to really feel a little bit more in balance with
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
And I think being in balance is important, and I think also being tidy and decluttering is important. You know, we declutter all the time. And now, as a realtor, when you go into a person's house that they're going to be selling it, you've got to declutter everything. You've got to take everything out. The first thing you've got to take is all their personal photos out, put them in the cupboards, and then you go through it. You just take everything that isn't 100% necessary and you declutter. And I think that's also really important, especially for somebody like me who's got a lot of everything, because I like to have a lot of everything, and to declutter and to put it in. And when I come back, my cupboards will go back into order. They put all the white blouses together, all the red blouses together, all the yellow blouses together. And I think that decluttering is also important, because one, you can't do social media while you're doing that. And two, when it's done and neat, your whole mind is neatened up.
Exactly. And that also creates more energy to flow when everything is neat and tidy. But how often, I want to know, this is a question. I want to know how many people, well, not how many people, how many emails do you have in your inbox? How many emails do you have in your inbox?
A
Because this is a
day or
decluttering.
at one time, because
Well, there's people that just leave. They just leave, unread
oh no,
emails,
I
or
can't. I can't. Mine are
yeah.
done instantly.
Look there, 6,000, Gail. Come on, there must be somebody with more. There's somebody with more. Because when I asked this question last year to a bunch of my clients, there was somebody with 100,000 emails.
Oh
How
no.
overwhelming must that feel? How overwhelming when you open up and you've got like 100,000 emails just sitting there, just sitting there.
I
So
do
come on.
2,000 a day, but I do them every day. Before I go to sleep, all my emails are done.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Only 26. I love that. Oh, you go, Libby. That's awesome. So this is part of the decluttering, and it's like the digital decluttering is actually looking at those emails and sorting them through, deleting what you don't need. Just delete what you don't need, just don't hold on to things that are going to disturb you and also sap your energy. Because can you imagine if you're sitting there and you've got whatever it is, 80,000, 100,000 emails sitting there? How exhausting must that feel? It must feel
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get through all of that. So, so just look at online, digitally, what is actually sapping your energy? What is drawing your energy down? Because we should be always trying to up our vibration and up our energy. And so what is actually, drawing that energy away from, your real life? And yes.
Yeah. I think, the other important thing is your relationships. You've got to have relationships. You've got to have your friends and all the people that you speak to on a daily basis. I have a whole lot of people that I speak to almost every day. And I think it's also really important, because you can lose yourself in this digital world where there are no people.
Yeah.
And suddenly one day you wake up and you think, I feel like chatting. I always feel like chatting to a friend. I phone a friend, and I wouldn't have any friends to phone if I didn't keep those relationships alive. So I think it's really important to cut. We do communicate a lot on WhatsApp, because especially my friends are all around the world. We communicate a lot on WhatsApp, but I think it's also important to have that face-to-face, to have the Zoom, to have the FaceTime, and that just to have that connection with people and actually have a chat. And I think especially as women, we need a chat. We need to chew the cud. We need to go over it, over it. My husband can't understand these things. Well, why don't you just sort it out? Give me 5 minutes and sort it out. No, I like to talk about it. I like to go over it. And I think those relationships, especially as women get older, it's really important to have other girls that you can chat to who are interested in the same things that you are, because we've all got to be on the same page. But I think, just stepping away from the social media and from my computer and my phone and everything, just for a few minutes, it refreshes me. I feel like inspired again, and then I can get going again. And because I write a lot, there's, sometimes you just get that writer's block where you can't do anything. Then I'll phone a friend, we'll have a chat, and then I'll go back and I can write again. So I think that's also important. Yeah. So I think we must.
I love the comments. I love the comments coming through, because there's a lot about.
I'm looking at the comments here. I said we must just say, what is your digital detox? What do you do to detox here. So only because all the doctors online say I cause sleep problems. Unlike you, Margaret, I need my sleep. Yeah. You see, I don't need sleep, Carol. I really don't. I actually sometimes I get irritated with myself if I do go to sleep because I've got so much that I could be doing. But they say I had my nephew who's 21 staying with me, and he said, Margaret, my skin's gone to pot because you keep me out all night and I'm not sleeping, but for next week I'm going to sleep. And then he says, look at my skin. It's so much better because I've had so much sleep. So yeah.
That's good.
I love
I know
people.
Carol, yeah, Carol has mentioned in offline activity is the book The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. I've read that book and done those activities. It's awesome. It's
Yeah.
really, really awesome. So that's a really good suggestion. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, I love everybody's putting their bits and pieces in here. And it's difficult because, I mean, you work on your phone. Who was that who says here? Charmaine says, I work on my phone. I also work on my phone. My phone is there. That's how I get my money. So I have
Yeah.
to be on it. But I think you've got to draw the line somewhere. So I've got it on my phone. I've got a do not disturb button. So from 10 o'clock at night till 4 o'clock in the morning, I go on the do not disturb. And then it's, then I'm okay. I only sleep from midnight till 4, but from 10 till midnight, I'm doing bits and pieces and doing what I've got to do. But it's a do not disturb. So I get no notifications and I don't use it at all then. So I think that's very, very important.
Yeah,
Libby's
awesome.
decluttering now to sell her house. That makes a huge difference when you declutter. It really makes a
Yes.
huge difference.
Yes,
So
absolutely. And I see somebody's run out of space as well. That often happens when there's too much. I have to really be really careful about my photographs because often I take so many photographs that my photographs, but I've got different folders now. So just to organize it and to make sure that that's all sorted. But there's a lot of photographs on my phone. So I love that.
A lot. I have a lot of photographs, I have to tell you. I have a lady whose full-time job is putting my old photographs onto the cloud because I have got so many, but I love them and I can spend hours looking at them. And I think a lot of the time when other people are scrolling through social media, I'm looking at my old photos and looking at the people and wondering where they are and connecting with them. So really, really, it's fantastic. Yeah, Shane says he has withdrawal symptoms when he switches his phone off, and he really does. I've seen him that. What's happening? Where's happening? You feel disconnected. And I think it's such a new thing. I mean, a few years ago, we never felt that way, but now we're totally disconnected if we haven't got our phone with us. So
Yeah,
what do you
I spoke at my dad's memorial service, and my dad and I had the most amazing trip around Europe. I was 20, he was 50, came and joined me when I was living in London. And back in those days, this is exactly what happened. We opened up a map book because we had map books, we didn't have GPS, and we decided where we wanted to go. And there were no phones. There was no, like you were out traveling with no contact with anybody. And I tell you now, it was quality time. It was quality time because you were so focused on what you were doing. You were so focused on the people that you were with. There was no distractions. How many of you see people in restaurants sitting at a table on their devices?
all the all the
So there
time.
needs to be, I feel there needs to be some boundaries and some rules put in place. It's like when we're eating, guys, the phones are away. When we're at a restaurant, when we're engaging with one another, the phones are away. When there needs to be some sort of boundaries in order for us to do this digital detox.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the photographs is a lot. Wherever you got people are taking selfies, they're taking pictures of the food, they're taking pictures of the people they're with. And I think, where are these photos going to go to at the end of the day? I don't know. Mine are all sitting on the cloud. And I think in my old dotage, I might sit and look at them. But apart from that, I don't know what everybody's going to do with them. There must be millions of photos on the cloud, millions and millions. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So what I'd love to hear from everybody now that we've discussed all the different places and ways that we're actually using our phones and using our laptops, I want to know how, if you take in your 24-hour day, so you've got your sleep time, you've got your eat time, you've got your work time, how much time is away from your phone and laptop? How much time are you spending away from the phone or the laptop? So that's really what I want to know.
My answer is not much. Not much. But I'm going to work towards it now. I wonder if you could set your alarm to have 10 minutes every hour You just say, I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to answer anything. I'm just going to sit and do something completely different for 10 minutes every hour and see how that worked.
Yeah. And I think this is it. And like I said, if you're engaging in a conversation with somebody and all of a sudden a notification goes on, you're
Yeah.
not giving that person what I call true sacred attention. You're not
Yeah.
giving that person your full focus. So
Yeah.
how can you expect them to give you the focus back again? So so here we go. 6 to 7. Is it 6 p.m. to 7 a.m.? Okay, awesome, Kerry. That's really good. 6 p.m. devices go off. I love that. And then they don't come on again until the next morning. That's really, really cool. Hardly ever. Not a lot as well. So I think I would just love to bring this awareness to everybody on a physical level. What is it doing to you? So really the time that you are spending away from it, how do you feel? And the time that you've got this device in your hand or you're on your laptop, how do you feel? How do you feel? Like really feel in on a physical level. Is it the nervous system? Is it the brain? Is it the eyes just can't switch off? Is it the gut? So where are you feeling a little bit of anxiety, anxiousness, or overwhelm, or just there's too much going on when you've got those devices in front of you? Feel into your body, because that's going to guide you to go like, what is the most important area that you need to work on? Like, what area do we need to work on? I love all these answers.
Well, normally for 10 minutes mid-morning, but a whole hour at lunchtime, and then after 15 minutes, leave it at home when I go out and exercise. I think the thing to do is, one, to eat without your phone, and two, to exercise without your phone. I think that those two, if you can do those, I think it's really, really good. Yeah, you're so reliant on WhatsApp. It's not a real communication, but my goodness, I'm on WhatsApp all day long. It's on my computer, it's on my phone, it's everywhere. So I'm WhatsApping everybody. We don't actually phone anymore because I find if I phone people, I sometimes disturb them. They're in the middle of doing something else and they get annoyed. So it's much easier to WhatsApp because then they can look at it and they can toss you aside. They don't have to answer you right now. And when they feel like speaking to you later, it's there. So, Carol said when she goes to the gym, she leaves her phone in the boot. Huh? That's really fantastic. When I go to those shops that sell rubbish, something like Westpac that just sells lots of things that you're never going to need, but you always buy them. I lock my handbag in my boot then, and I go in there, look around, and I come out without buying anything. It's the only way. But Shane says, I don't look at it at a gym. I bet you do, Shane. I bet you do. Where do you put it? Do you put it in your locker?
Yeah, it's really, really cool just to know that and just to identify when the devices are not around, exactly, what is moving through your body, and when they are around and when you're so reliant on it. I'm the same, Margaret. I've got clients all over the world, so they communicate on WhatsApp with me because that for me is my first port of call. It's the easiest
It's
thing to
cheap.
go, okay, if there's anything urgent, it needs to come through on WhatsApp, and so I get to answer it. But how many people, when they wake up in the morning, they look at their WhatsApp,
Yeah.
or they wake up in the morning and they look at their emails? Like, exactly how quickly after you wake up are you on your device?
Yeah.
And this is like, we get up and we get into mode so quickly that already our systems are working. And often I say to people as well, our brains switch on the minute we wake up. Our brains switch on, the muscles switch on. Even just walking to the bathroom, the muscles are working and switching on. But now we're on devices, and this brain is working, and it's just constantly going. But how much fuel do we have in our system in order to exert the energy that is needed for our brains to work that much? And I've often said, somebody that sits behind a desk working in front of a laptop all day, or somebody that's on a construction site physically working, it's amazing. But often they need the same amount of power or fuel in their systems.
Yeah.
Because the brain works so much. I mean, you've got an accountant. Think about an accounting or an admin person, and it's just like go, go, go all the time. It's exhausting. It's energy that your body needs. So don't be fooled that a person sitting behind a desk is not using the energy that is needed in the body. And so in order for this energy, the brain energy and the physical energy, we need fuel. And often we're starving ourselves of the fuel, and we're not eating enough for the brain power and the physical power. and our body goes into storage mode because it stores, because it's like, I don't know when I'm going to need this power. I don't know when I'm going to need this fuel. And our metabolism slows down. And now we want to know why we're putting on weight. And we go, oh, we're putting on weight because we're sitting behind a desk. No, it's you don't have the right fuel in your system in order for the energy that's coming out all the time. And so when we're on these devices all the time, think about how much energy your body needs in order to actually do that. You know, how much do we exert ourselves just by keeping these brains going and the overflow and the nervous system? Keep that nervous system going. We need fuel in order to do that, but the right type of fuel.
So I was going
Not
to
the
say,
junk
what
food.
food should we eat though to get that fuel going, to get that? Because now a lot of us are doing intermittent fasting. I'm not at the moment, but when my visitors are no longer with me, I will definitely do intermittent fasting. And I blame them; they hardly eat anything. But anyway, it's another story. But if you're on intermittent fasting now, so when I do it, I don't eat until 12 o'clock. Now I've got no fuel coming into my body at that time, but a lot of energy being expended. How do you
Correct.
balance that out?
Correct. So, Margaret, I have honestly seen a lot, and it is a lot of women because the hormones are affected as well. But and mainly I do mainly work with women, but I see a lot of women that cannot release weight because their metabolism has slowed down and they don't eat breakfast and they're doing the intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, I truly believe, is amazing for our bodies once we've hit a weight that we're actually happy with. When we are happy with our weight, intermittent fasting is incredible because we need to give our bodies a break in order to regenerate cells and flush out old cells and go through the autophagy and all of that. But if you are wanting to release weight, we need to speed up your metabolism. Your metabolism will slow down if you're exerting too much and you don't have the fuel coming in. So for those women, I say to them, have breakfast, skip dinner. So do the intermittent fasting the other way around. Wake up in the morning, have your breakfast. But when you skip the dinner, it means that 9, 10 o'clock, when your human growth hormone kicks in to do your healing, you're not exerting the bodily functions in digestion. It means that your digestion is done and finished. And so now you can focus on the healing. And that's what we need. So when they switch that around, then they start to release the weight and their metabolism starts to come back into balance. So it really does
I'm
depend
a
on
breakfast person. I think, Carol says she's a breakfast person. I'm a breakfast person. I really love having my breakfast. When I did the intermittent fasting, I couldn't eat until by 10 o'clock, I was about to chew my arm off. I was so hungry. And by 12 o'clock, I wasn't even nice to be around. I got that hangry, that was that hangry stage. So I think, I'm going to try that with having breakfast and lunch and then just not eating till the next morning. I think you must wake up in the morning feeling flipping hungry, I want to tell you, but still.
You know the old saying, you should have breakfast like a king, lunch like what is it? Like a
lord and supper like a pauper.
There we go.
But
There we go.
now,
That's exactly it.
everybody's on this new stuff called Ozempic, which is, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, which is making them thin. What do you think about that?
I've looked into that, and I tell you now, it is not healthy at all. So you might be releasing weight, but the bodily functions are not good at all. First of all, it's a chemical, so it is probably affecting the lining of your gut. So your gut microbiome is not good. And I've known people to come off it and then they just put the weight back on.
Everybody puts the weight back on. Everybody, yeah.
Exactly. So once again, it's one of these things. It's marketed really well, but it's going to put you in this yo-yo state of weight on, weight off, weight on, weight off. It's not healthy. We need to get the mind into a mindset and your lifestyle into a lifelong healthy rhythm. And so these quick fixes for me is just, it actually does more damage to the body. It really does more damage to the body because of the chemicals that are in there. So it's not good at all. Carol has asked for my book called Fuel Food. Carol, I do have a nutritional guide. So just send me a note or get onto my QR code, wherever it is, and just send me an email. I'll send you, it's my nutritional guide is an ebook that is full of everything that you need. So yeah, just send me a note and I'll send it to you.
So
Cool.
going forward, how do you think we should handle this? Because we've got to be on our phones a lot of the time for work
Yes.
more than anything else. I mean, we don't have invoice books anymore. We've got an app on our phone. So if you come and I send you the quote, you say, yes, I like that. I press the button, it does the invoice for you. It sends you automatic messages. The drivers coming. Our drivers are on all day long because you can track them like an Uber. So you can see where the drivers are. The driver will be, and it says to you, the driver will be with you at 11:25, and he is, because it's amazing. So we've got all that, but people want everything now.
Yeah.
And we've got this checkers, 60, we've got Woolworths Dash, we've got Pick and Pay, whatever it's called. They will deliver that food to you within 60 minutes. And everybody wants everything to be instant. So you have to be on your phone, because when the delivery man comes to the door, you've got no doorbells anymore here in South Africa. So he's got to phone you to say, I'm at your door, please let me in. And so, yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to get off those cell phones all the time.
It is. It really, really is. But when we think about how we map out our day, and if you really are thinking, and 2025 is going to be your well year, it's going to be your healthy year, then it's no better time now to start at the beginning of the year and go, let me structure my diary. And let me put gaps in my diary to have time out for me, to recharge me, to fuel me, to make me well. And those gaps in your diary, we've said it all the time, your health is your wealth. Those gaps in your diary is not lost time. It is time that you are going to take in order for you to be more productive, in order for you to get more done. Because I always find the minute I take a break, I come back and I'm boom, 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 boom. I go for it. In fact, I remember having a chat to my kids' school principal, because at one of the prize givings that I went to, I said to the principal, isn't it amazing that the kids with all the top sporting events are also the kids that are all the top achievers in the academics? I said, is that really fair? Like, how do you know that the top academics are going to be the top sporting? He said, the kids that are on the sports field, that exert themselves on the sports field, come back to the classroom and they focus and they concentrate better. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to take time out so that we exert ourselves, so that we can come back and focus and concentrate and get more done, be more productive. So put time in your diary to take the time out. And don't take the time out and be on your phone. Take the time out to totally recharge you. Be in the garden, be in a park, go into a setting where there is trees or branches or plants that you can look at, something in nature. Allow your eyes to rest. For my clients that work in an office and they come to me with visual fatigue, I say to them, put a plant on your desk and just look at the plant every now and again. Just move your eyes away from the screen and look at something natural. If you look at something natural, your eyes are going to just rest, just for that moment, just for that moment. So I really am encouraging everybody. It's the beginning of the year. It's a really good place to start. Put time in your diary to recharge you, to really get yourself organized.
Yeah, I think that the best way to do it is to start small and, just have a few screen-free moments in the day and then build them up like anything else. It's like, you're exercising, you start slow and then you've got to build up. So I think that's really, really important. I think it's really important to schedule breaks in your day, especially when you have a job like us in retail, you don't have tea times and lunch breaks and things like that. So you've got to schedule some time to go, just take a walk outside or do something like that. And I think it's really important to have the devices out of the bedroom. And well, I have to have mine because I don't have an alarm clock anymore. I got rid of my alarm clock. I have to think around that. Might have to get another alarm clock, and then keep it away from you, because it's true what they said, that the technology actually draws your energy out. And where does it go to? It can't go into the thing. I know I read another article this week. It said that a McDonald's hamburger, it uses more energy for you to digest it than you puts into your. So you go into a minus situation if you have that.
Correct. Absolutely. And this is what I call dead food, because dead food, your body has to work so hard. You've actually got to exert additional digestive enzymes to break down the dead food. Whereas if you put a piece of fruit in, people go, oh my gosh, fruit, sugar, sugar. I'm going, no, 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 no. That natural sugar, your body knows exactly how to break that down. It knows exactly which cells need it, and it disperses that natural sugar in your system for your energy. So fruit
Yeah.
is so good to have first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Fill yourself up with some fruit, whole fruit smoothies, do a combination, change things up a bit in the morning, but put that really good natural food in, and then the body actually knows how to break that down. You think about a McDonald's burger, because we all know, we've seen the experiment. It stays there. It doesn't decompose. It can
Yeah.
stay there for ages. Can you imagine how hard that is? Liver, gallbladder, spleen, pancreas, shooting out all these enzymes to try and break it down and clean your body out, to really get it out your system. It's hard work. It's hard
Yeah.
work. So your body does need to work harder with those dead foods.
Yeah, yeah. And to put living food into your body, because I think that's really important. And then while you're doing it, so I think this is a good way to do it. Instead of sitting and scrolling, when you in between times, like I'm waiting for my webinar to start. So I look at my phone and I look and see what's going on, to actually get something and eat some grapes or some pawpaw or something like that. It'll just give you something to do, because it's almost like we are in a habit of being busy all the time. You've got to be looking at your phone. You've got to be doing this, you've got to be doing that, to actually just say, no, I'm just going to sit for 5 minutes and just get myself towards myself. And it's quite difficult to do. It's
Exactly.
easy to say, quite
It's
difficult to do.
it's really, really difficult. But I would love to challenge everybody, even if you do it once a month or once this year,
Yeah.
switch the phone off on a Friday night and put it back on a Monday morning. Have one weekend, just one weekend without your devices. You will feel like a different person. You will feel so amazing. I put myself on retreats every now and again. Somebody said, yeah, Shane, impossible, impossible already. But it's incredible that when you are away from this thing that is sapping your energy, and you actually manage to give yourself more time and give the people in your life more of your attention, your life totally transforms.
Yeah.
It totally transforms. So Shane, just once this year.
Well, I've got a friend who is Jewish and very, very religious and very frum, as we say, and they switch their phones off at sunset on a Friday, and they switch them on at sunset on the Saturday, hey, or for a whole 24 hours. And she says it's the best time of that. She said that day, the family reconnect, they talk to each other, they don't have the TV on or anything, they just do sort of normal things. And she said it's absolutely the best time of the day. She said they all look forward to it. The whole week they look forward to that Saturday where everything's switched off. So I think it
so
does
important.
have this. She says she feels so much better for it. And she's got a very high-powered job. But she says everybody knows Friday night it goes off and Saturday night it comes on again. Yeah. Incredible.
Very, very important. And I think that's exactly it. It's that connection with the real people in your life and not watching somebody else's life.
Yeah.
Because when we're watching other people's lives, it's like, what's happening in my life? What's happening in my life? Well, make your life the best ever. Live your best life this year. Make time for you and your loved ones. Really put those experiences into your diary, and switch the phone off and be there. Really be there.
Yeah. And we tend to Google all the time. If you want to know anything, you don't even think anymore. You just Google it. You would know the answer if you could think for a minute, but it's quicker and easier to Google it. So yeah, I think we've got to stop doing that. So I think it's going to be a whole new restructuring of your life to try and do it without going to your social media all the time, being online all the time, looking at the WhatsApps, looking at the notifications, that type of thing.
Something we do as a family is we play games after our meal. So we'll sit at the table and eat, and then we'll play cards, or we'll play, we've got different games that we play. And I tell you now, my kids look so forward to, and my kids are adult children, by the way, they're 20 and 22, but they look forward to actually having that quality time. And we might not do it every night because, there's things on and we're busy, but a couple of times a week, we play board games and card games, and the phones are nowhere near. The phones are nowhere near. So even putting that into your system, I think, is really, really important.
But you know, it's hard because the new games, because I was with my grandsons now over Christmas, they have this game where you get a card and it's got a year on it, and then you scan the QR code with your phone and it plays a song, and you have to guess the year of the song, and you get extra points if you guess the artist and the name of the song. And I thought even a board game today is now related to your cell phones. I mean, it's getting more and more like that. But I think we just have to draw the line from time to time. But it's also hard now for the kids because they don't even have books anymore. They do all their schoolwork on iPads. So, I mean, to them, that they don't know any different.
Yeah, they don't know any different. I couldn't believe, I was down in Wellington this weekend, and my cousin's daughter there is 8 years old.
Yeah.
And 8 years old, they have to have a laptop for school.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
going, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that. I mean, my kids have obviously been out of the school for a while. But
And you
at
know,
8
they don't do cursive writing anymore. Who knew? They don't do cursive writing. They print everything. Why are you printing? Because we don't do cursive writing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I
It's
think we've,
amazing how things are
and
changing
Jeannie
in the
says cell
school
phones have
system.
made people very impatient. Yeah, very
Yeah.
impatient. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that it's got to teach us patience. You can, you don't have to. You see people stop at the robot and they start looking at their phone. They can't even stop at the robot and wait for it to turn green. They look at their phone and you've got to hoot because they don't go. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
It's a
Yeah.
whole other
So
world, but I
just
think we have to work around it. I think, to take time out to have a meal, a proper meal, and just not look at your phone all the time, to take time out to speak to other people. And even as we are doing now, although we're doing it online, I think it's good to have the conversation and join in with the conversation. So thank you to all of you who have joined in. We're nearly at the end of our time today, but just a quick follow up from you. And Shane, if you can put next month's talk on so everybody knows what we're talking about next month. I don't know if we know what we're talking about next month. And and thank you all for joining us. It's been amazing. But Kerry, just a close up from you.
Yes, I think today's session was just to bring awareness, really to bring awareness and to start the conversation with your family and your loved ones, and to really make you aware, how much time are you spending on it, and what would your body feel like? What would your physical and mental body feel like? I also feel it has an impact on your emotions as well, but what would it feel like if you just take a break? If you really just take a break. So I would love to encourage you all to challenge yourselves for that weekend. I'd love you to try for a weekend, but even if you just schedule a few moments within your day, just to take time out and then feel how you feel. So yeah, today was really about awareness, and I hope we've brought that to you, brought it to the forefront, and so you know that it affects you, and how can you actually make some shifts and changes. So thank you everybody for being here, and it's an awesome start to this new year, and let's make this your best year ever.
And I think also being on your cell phone all the time is an addiction, and we have to get over that addiction. And an addiction is only an addiction if you can't control it. When it controls you, it's an addiction. When you're controlling it, it's not an addiction. So our meeting next month on the 24th of February, and it's called Metabolic Reset, Fuel Your Energy. And we've got to put the right fuel into our bodies to make sure we've got a lot of energy. Because today you need a lot of energy to keep up with everybody. Life is going so fast. We've got to keep going. We've got to faster and faster all the time. So I think we really have to give ourselves the right fuel. And we're going to be talking about the food that you've got to eat to make sure that you feel good all the time. And what you put into your body is what makes you healthy or sick. There's no doubt about it. I'm terrible because I tell the people at work, if you eat meat, you're going to get sick. There's no doubt about it. You will definitely get sick. So you just understand that. And if you don't want to get sick, just eat vegetables and fruit and you will not get sick. And I always tell them I'm living proof of that because, I touch wood, I never get sick. And because I eat the right food. And I really think it's important. And I'm really struggling with my staff. In fact, I used to buy them lunch if they made Target, but now they get half a day off rather, because I told them that if they would just go straight across to Kentucky and fill up on Kentucky, and I could just almost see that oil swimming around around behind the eyeballs. So yeah, so we're trying something new there, and we're having wellness talks at work and everything. So thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to all of you who've sent all the comments in. You can keep the comments flowing. We're live on Facebook, so you can keep the comments flowing on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Kerry's Facebook page. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of January and February, and I'll see you on the 24th of February. Thank you, Kerry, so much for being on tonight. Thank you, guys. See you next month.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.